Men, the questions a woman asks on a first date aren't innocent curiosity or simple getting to know you conversation. Every question is strategic. She's gathering information, testing your responses, and determining how you fit into her plans. Most men answer these questions honestly and directly, completely missing that they're being played, tested, or manipulated. Before we start, hit subscribe, drop a like, and comment if you've ever answered one of these questions honestly, only to realize later she was using your answer against you. Your engagement helps other men recognize when they're being played instead of getting to know someone genuinely. Question 1. How much do you make? Or what do you do for work? Asked immediately. When she asks about your income or career within the first few minutes of meeting, before knowing anything meaningful about who you are as a person, most men think she's making conversation or trying to understand your life. She's actually financially screening you to determine if you meet her provider requirements before she invests any genuine interest in knowing you. What this question actually reveals. This question reveals she's evaluating your economic value before your human value. Women who lead with career and income questions are playing a filtering game where they determine if you're worth their time based on your ability to provide resources. You're being assessed as potential funding source, not potential partner. Notice the timing of when she asks. If this question comes before she's asked about your interests, values, personality, or anything that reveals who you are beyond your economic output, she's prioritizing financial information over personal connection. Her sequence of questions reveals her priority hierarchy, and finances are at the top. Watch how she responds to your answer. If you mention a high-status career or good income, and she becomes noticeably more engaged, interested, and invested in the conversation, you've just witnessed her interest level adjust based on your provider potential. If you mention modest income, and she becomes less engaged, you've failed her financial screening. Pay attention to follow-up questions. If she asks about career advancement, future earning potential, savings, investments, or financial goals immediately after learning what you do, she's conducting comprehensive financial evaluation. These aren't getting to know you questions. These are provider assessment questions. Observe whether she volunteers similar information about herself. If she asks detailed financial questions, but provides vague answers about her own situation, or presents herself as needing support, she's gathering information while protecting her position. If she's equally transparent about her finances, it's less concerning, but the early timing still reveals problematic priorities. Notice if she connects your career to lifestyle questions. If learning what you do immediately triggers questions about where you live, what you drive, where you vacation, or how you spend money, she's calculating what lifestyle access to your resources would provide. She's not curious about you. She's evaluating what you can give her. Why this reveals. She's playing games. This question reveals she's playing a financial screening game where your worth is determined by economic factors before personality, character, or compatibility matter. She's filtering for providers, not partners. Women who are genuinely interested in connection ask about who you are as a person before they ask what you can provide economically. Leading with financial questions exposes transactional mindset incompatible with genuine partnership. Question 2. What are you looking for? Ask to lock down your commitment level. When she asks what you're looking for in relationships, what your intentions are, or where you see things going very early, before any real connection exists, most men think she's being direct about compatibility. She's actually trying to extract commitment statements she can use to hold you accountable later or to determine if you'll provide the relationship escalation she wants on her timeline. What this question actually reveals. This question reveals she's playing a commitment extraction game. Women who ask about your relationship intentions on first dates aren't patiently evaluating compatibility. They're trying to get you on record about what you're willing to provide so they can reference your statements later when pushing for relationship progression you're not ready for. Notice the specific wording she uses. If she asks what you're looking for generally, she's gathering data about your openness to commitment. If she asks what you're looking for with her specifically, she's trying to extract premature commitment before you have enough information to make informed decisions. Either way, she's trying to lock down your intentions before natural relationship development occurs. Watch what she does with your answer. If you say you're open to serious relationships but want to get to know someone first, and she pushes for more definitive commitment, she's not satisfied with reasonable answers. She wants promises. If you say you're looking for something serious, and she immediately starts discussing timelines or expectations, she's already planning relationship progression before knowing if you're compatible. Pay attention to whether this question follows natural conversation flow or feels abrupt. If you've been discussing interests and experiences, and she suddenly pivots to relationship intentions, she's executing planned question rather than following organic conversation. Strategic questions reveal strategic mindset, where she's running plays rather than genuinely connecting. Observe if she volunteers her own intentions first or demands you reveal yours. If she makes you go first, she maintains informational advantage. She'll calibrate her response based on what you said, either matching it to seem compatible or pushing for more to test your boundaries. If she shares first, assess whether her stated intentions match her behavior. Notice whether she accepts your answer or tries to negotiate it. If you express wanting to take things slow and she tries to convince you that moving faster is better, she's not accepting your boundaries. She's testing whether she can manipulate you into commitment, pacing that serves her timeline rather than respecting yours. Why this reveals? She's playing games. This question reveals she's playing a commitment acceleration game. She wants verbal commitments she can leverage later to push relationship progression according to her timeline, regardless of actual compatibility or natural development. Women who are genuinely interested in building something real understand that intentions develop through getting to know each other, not through extracting promises on first dates. Question 3. Do you think I'm pretty? Or fishing for compliments. Disguised as questions. When she asks if you think she's attractive, if you like how she looks, or any variation of fishing for appearance validation, most men think she's being vulnerable or seeking reassurance. She's actually testing whether you'll provide endless validation on demand and training you that complimenting her appearance is your role in this dynamic. What this question actually reveals. This question reveals she's playing a validation extraction game. Women who fish for compliments on first dates are testing whether you'll provide constant appearance-based reassurance throughout any relationship. They're establishing that managing their insecurity about looks is your responsibility, and gauging how much validation labor you'll perform. Notice how she asks. If it's framed as genuine vulnerability, she might actually be insecure, but making you responsible for managing that insecurity on a first date reveals she'll drain you emotionally. If it's framed playfully or obviously fishing, she's testing whether you'll perform validation rituals on command. Either way, you're being set up as her validation source. Watch what happens after you answer. If you compliment her and she accepts it and moves on, it was genuine question. If you compliment her and she fishes for more elaborate praise, asks if you really mean it, or compares herself to other women, she can't retain validation. You'll spend relationships providing endless reassurance that never actually satisfies. Pay attention to frequency. If she asks once, it might be normal first date nervousness. If she asks repeatedly throughout the date in different forms, she has chronic validation needs that will exhaust you. Multiple fishing attempts reveal dependency on external reassurance to maintain self-worth. Observe whether she seems to need the validation or is testing your compliance. Some women genuinely struggle with self-esteem and seek reassurance. Others use validation fishing to test whether you'll comply with demands and perform emotional labor. Genuine need is still problematic for first dates, but testing is more manipulative. Notice if she reciprocates by affirming you or only seeks validation for herself. If it's one-directional, where you provide compliments, but she doesn't affirm you, she's establishing dynamic where your job is boosting her while she evaluates whether you're adequate. Mutual appreciation is healthy. One-way validation service is not. Why this reveals? She's playing games. This question reveals she's playing a validation dependency game. She's testing whether you'll accept responsibility for managing her self-esteem and provide constant appearance-based reassurance. Women who are secure don't need validation fishing on first dates. Women who are manipulative use it to train you into compliment provider role that benefits them while draining you. Question 4, what's your type? Or, do you usually date girls like me? When she asks about your type, who you normally date, or whether you usually go for women like her, most men think she's curious about compatibility or your preferences. She's actually fishing for information about competition, gauging whether you see her as special or one of many, and determining if she needs to change strategy to keep your interest. What this question actually reveals. This question reveals she's playing a positioning game. Women who ask about your type are gathering intelligence about what attracts you so they can either perform those qualities or determine if they need to work harder to secure your interest. They're also testing whether you see them as unique or interchangeable. Notice how she reacts to your answer. If you describe qualities she has, and she seems satisfied, she wanted confirmation she fits your preferences. If you describe qualities she doesn't have, and she seems concerned or starts adjusting her behavior, she's performing based on what she learned attracts you. Either way, she's treating attraction as strategic calculation rather than organic chemistry. Watch whether she compares herself to your stated type. If you describe preferences, and she points out how she matches or doesn't match them, she's evaluating herself against your standards and determining what she needs to emphasize or downplay. This reveals she's managing your perception strategically rather than being authentic. Pay attention to whether this connects to questions about past relationships. If she asks about your type and then asks about exes, what they looked like or how she compares, she's trying to determine competition level and whether she measures up. This reveals insecurity and competitive mindset that creates problematic relationship dynamics. Observe if the question seems like curiosity or feels like a test. Genuine curiosity accepts whatever answer you give. Testing involves watching your response carefully, adjusting based on what you said, or using information to position herself. If it feels like you gave wrong answer based on her reaction, you are being tested. Notice whether she volunteers her type or only asks about yours. If she makes you reveal preferences without sharing hers, she maintains informational advantage. She knows what you want, but you don't know what she values, giving her control in the dynamic. If she shares equally, it's less manipulative, but the question itself still reveals strategic thinking. Why this reveals? She's playing games. This question reveals she's playing an information-gathering game to either perform qualities that attract you or determine competition level from your past. Women who are genuinely confident and interested don't need to reverse engineer your preferences. They're authentic and allow chemistry to develop naturally. Strategic type questions reveal she's calculating how to secure interest rather than building genuine connection.